Hi everybody, I'm Cara from Jade Massotherapy. Today we're going to be talking about how to do a self-hand massage. It's very important to work our hands out since our hands tend to hold a lot of tension just from everyday activities such as using our phones, typing, texting, working with our hands, whatever the issue may be. We do tend to carry a lot of stress and tension in our hands. So it's great to release that every once in a while just to relax your hands, and it actually helps really relax your whole body. So before we start, we're going to warm up our hands. You always want to warm up the muscle tissue or any area that you're working before you do any kind of manipulation. It just helps to release nerves and relax the area that you're working. So if you're going to be using any lotion or oil, you can do that now. All right, so by warming up the hands, we're going to do a technique that's called effleurage. You can do that by simply rubbing your hands. You're going to glide over the tops of them and the palms of your hands. And this creates a sort of friction, which will create and release heat and warm up the muscle tissue and get that blood flowing. You can also give your hands a little squeeze, that's compression, and that also generates a lot of heat and warms up that muscle tissue and connective tissue. Okay, so now that our hands are all warmed up, we can begin working them properly. So a very important area that you want to address is in the middle of your fingers. In between all of the knuckles, these are called your metacarpals. The knuckles and the fingers are your metacarpals, so you want to get in between that area, which is kind of web-like. There's a lot of fascia and connective tissue there. So you're going to grab this area kind of in a pinching motion and just lightly, depending on the pressure that you like, you could do it lighter, you could do it deeper, you're going to glide across here. And in the thumb, we use this area, this muscle, so much that it actually holds so much tension and we can cramp up and spasm. So it's really good to get in there and release it. So we're going to start just by effleuraging it or stroking it. And then you can actually get in there with your thumb and do some half circles, semicircles. In the massage world, we call these a J-stroke. And then you're going to get into your thumb and just traction a little bit. And what that means is you're going to get a nice grip on your thumb and pull a little bit. I'm adding a twisting motion. Feels good on each joint space. So that's good to release, get the blood flowing, get the lymph flowing, and just open that up. Now you can do that in between the next metacarpal. Just get right in there. You can find it this way too. If you go in between your fingers, there's a V-shaped area and you just follow that in between all the way down. Again, we're just stroking that area, and you can do it towards your wrist, you can pull it away. Both ways feel great. And then I just traction my finger out with a little bit of twisting at the end. And that carries into the palm as well. So you'll go through each one of these fingers and in between each metacarpal to release that. Sometimes those areas get very sticky and you can form a trigger finger, which is when the nerve locks your finger down like that. So this will help prevent that in the future by keeping everything nice and hydrated, nice and loose, and keeping that blood flowing. And then we're on to the last one with a little bit of traction. Now what I like to do is to follow that tendon all the way down your forearm, because these are flexors of your hand Right here, these are the flexors, and these are the extensors. So it's very important we call it cross fibering, or you can stroke all the way down. You just find this bone here. This is your ulnar bone. You find that, and you can use your 2 knuckles, or you can use your finger and your thumb and just follow that down. It feels incredible to get that released. A lot of people experience issues in the carpal tunnel. You don't really want to push on the carpal tunnel area rather than release the sides of it. So you can get in there with your thumb and do those half circles or semicircles and just get in there and release this side. Get in there again and release this side. It's just a wonderful way to keep things loose in there. Make sure everything is flowing properly and that all the tendons that connect into your hand are free and loose. Now you can go ahead if you need to apply more lotion or more oil and just keep everything warm. You want to keep that blood flowing. Now I like to really get into the palms of my hands. You could do that with your thumbs. If this hand that's working seems to be getting tired, you can also use your knuckles and just create circles. This muscle, when talking about reflexology of the hand, since this muscle carries so much of the tension of the hand, it's interesting because it corresponds to the large intestine in reflexology. So if you have developed any digestional issues or problems, sometimes this area needs to be released. And by doing so, you can grab that area and you want to pinch it. It's kind of called like a trigger point therapy. And you just hold it for a couple seconds and release it. And then you can warm it up again and go in there and find that area and just trigger point that area. And again, same thing on this side, the thumb side. This is your radial bone. This one gets a little bit lost in the forearm, but you just follow that all the way up to the connection points in the elbow. Now, one of my favorite movements to do to help even release the hands is called cross fibering. Since the muscles go this way, long ways, you can literally grab the muscles and go against them. I always explain it like it's like strumming guitar strings. And it feels so good and it's such a great release. And you can do that all the way up and down. Cross fibering allows for if you have any blockages in the fascial restrictions, anything like that, that helps open that up to release everything to start flowing correctly. All right. And one of my other favorite movements, always like to warm it up, keep your hands warmed up. Okay, so the next movement we're going to do is you want to stabilize your wrist, your carpal tunnel area, just by getting a nice grip around your wrist. You don't have to squeeze tight or anything, you're just stabilizing the wrist. And just taking that hand, and this is called circumduction. You're going as big circles as possible. Up and around, pronating, supinating. And this feels so good. Believe it or not, go back as far as you can, extend, and flex. And extend as far as you can, and flex. You're really getting the opening through those fingers and through your hand. And you could go ahead and do it with the other side. It really feels good doing it on the hand that's doing most of the work. All right. Now that we're all stretched out, you can get into other pressure points like the tips of your fingers. These represent your sinuses in reflexology. So if you're having any blockages in your sinuses, you go in there and you just find the areas. The tops of the fingertips represent sinuses. So you go in there and you kind of just stimulate that area just by pressing a little bit, giving it a little bit of pressure. I like to do it on a stretch like this. You could do it this way as well, but I actually like doing it on a stretch for myself because then you get a double whammy. You get a stretch and a pressure point hold. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this self-hand massage. Hopefully it comes in handy for you, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.